Hey guys, Patrick here with Vetted. Got the rest of the team here. I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I got a comment over the last podcast that, hey, Patrick, you didn't introduce anybody. We don't know who they are. Way to go. Okay, let's fix that problem. So yes, Amy, Sebastian, please introduce yourselves for the crowd here.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Amy. I'm based in the UK, and yeah, supporting Patrick and Sebastian on all things vetted podcast and beyond.
Beyond.
And beyond.
Perfect.
Working with Patrick for quite a while now. For quite a few years, we've been working on other podcasts together. I'm based in the UK, and I'm very pleased here to do this podcast together with Patrick.
Yeah, perfect. There you go, guys. I also thought it would be interesting to talk about Amy. We saw Matthew, right, who runs Factual America. Guys, I'm gonna put a link to this podcast, sort of a sister podcast of the crew here. I started basically with Matthew with his podcast. We got Lone Star Play, we got Factual America. It's an awesome podcast about documentaries, and they interview producers, directors. It's phenomenal. Matthew's a great podcast host, and they had on the director from Encounters from the Netflix show, right? So I'm going to put a link to that so you guys can see that interview that Matthew did. But also, I thought, well, let's try to get him on Vetted, right? We'll try to talk to him. So I'm gonna let Amy kind of just talk a little bit about that, because Amy reaches out to people. She's a magician. Okay, y'all. That's it's not easy to book guests for podcasts. That's probably one of the hardest things to do, to be honest with you. My job's easy. I just talk. I just have a conversation with somebody who shows up at the same time I do on a Zoom. That's literally it, right? So you have to do all the work of sort of putting it together. Amy's got us the guest on Vetted. Okay, Mick West, Avi Loeb, Nick Pope. So I'll let her kind of talk a little bit about that and maybe where that interview's at with the Encounters guy.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know his name.
Jon Motzkin. Jon, I think that's right. Jon Motzkin. Yeah, it is. So yeah, you're right. It's quite difficult, and you'd be surprised at the amount of times I'm totally ghosted when I reach out to someone and say, hey, I totally get it. They probably get thousands and a lot of invites, particularly within this community, to appear on podcasts. But yeah, a lot of no replies. An astounding amount, actually. But with Factual America, the podcast that you mentioned, which is kind of the sister podcast, I suppose, to Vetted and the stuff you're working on, Patrick, we work quite closely with Netflix. Obviously, clearly they have a lot of new documentary releases, so we have a pretty good relationship with them, where I often reach out to them and ask directors of interesting podcasts that are launching and releasing on that platform to appear on Factual America. And in this instance, actually, they reached out to me and said, we've got Jon, would you like to interview him for Factual America? And I said, yes, absolutely. However, I'd really like to get, yes, definitely. But can I also put him forward for Vetted? So that those conversations are in progress. So he did his kind of first initial PR round, where he was, I suppose, doing a bit more promotion on the documentary rather than the content of the documentary, and focusing on the UFOs. I know that's the kind of the big piece part of the documentary. He was doing a bit of a PR round on the kind of wider stuff. And then when he does his next PR round, they're going to get back in touch, and hopefully we'll get Jon on this show. I think he'll make for a great interview. It was a good interview with Matthew. So
yeah, for sure. Awesome. Look, that's great. Who else? Amy, just curious, we've talked about other people we've tried to reach out to, just so people don't think I'm lying when I say that in my videos. Like, yeah, we've tried to reach out to them. I'm not lying, okay, people. We have tried to reach out to the people, like you said, we get ghosted. So who are some people we've tried to reach out to for Vetted that we just haven't heard back from?
Jesse Michaels.
Michaels.
Ryan, gosh, remind me of his surname.
Ryan Graves.
Yeah. Brian Graves, crikey, there's lots.
Oh, I'm sorry, I put you on the spot here.
On the spot now, yeah.
Okay, I'll help you. Gary Nolan, right? We've tried to reach out.
Yeah.
Does that name sound familiar? Gary Nolan.
Yes, it does. And he is one actually that said he gets so many podcast invites that he's had to put a pause on saying yes, because otherwise that is all he would be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, Lou Elizondo. Well, yes and no. I've kind of been in contact with that person for over a year, waiting on that. Who knows? That'll come when disclosure comes. Gosh, now I can't even think of who else we've tried to.
I know
we've tried to reach out to, but surprisingly, a lot of people have been asking me this stuff. I thought this would be a good podcast. We kind of have to cut it short. So I thought a little behind the scenes, what vet it is, what do we do? Yes, we'll talk some stories that are out there. But yeah, thought that was interesting. What's like, say you what's the hardest part about reaching out to try to book someone, Amy? Is it you go for it. What do you think?
I mean, there's two things that are hard. There are two things that are hard. As I say, these people get lots and lots of invites. So finding a way to stand out from the crowd is always going to be difficult in an inbox when you've got one chance, to stand out within a lot of emails. And then, the scheduling can be tricky. These are busy people they're probably on lots of podcasts all day long. So finding a time that works. We're working across multiple time zones often as well, aren't we? So finding a time that works for everyone. They're the hardest things. But I would say the former part of that, actually finding a way to stand out to them and to make the conversation feel meaningful for them, which is your job, Patrick, when they finally get on here. But kind of articulating that in an email up front can be quite difficult.
Sure. Yeah. 100%. How did we get I think the story of how we got Nick Pope is interesting. I mean, really all the guests we've gotten, I think that's interesting, but how we got Nick Pope is interesting. Why don't you tell people about that story?
So I'm sure everyone will know that Nick Pope is an ex-MOD employee. I am also an ex-MOD employee many moons ago in a previous life. So there was a little bit of crossover, not a huge amount. He left the MOD, I think, when I was in my first year there. But I put that in the subject line. I said, hello from another former ex-MOD employee.
Smart.
Click the email, open it up, and immediately we had a connection and some warmth to the conversation, and that was it. He was sold. So
what's the MOD for people that may not know that?
UK Ministry of Defence. So
there we go.
Our Department of Defence equivalent.
I mean, that's just crazy. That's like working at the Pentagon here, Amy. That's just or the Department of Defense here. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's awesome. Great job, and that turned out to be a great interview with Nick. I really enjoyed that guy a lot. That's a guy that I don't understand all the hate he gets in this community. It's baffling to me. Everybody does. It's like no matter who's in the community, someone's like, I don't trust that guy. He's still working for the government. He's a plant. He's a shell, or whatever. Someone left a comment today, or yesterday, Nick Pope looks as old as the Pope. What happened to this guy? I'm like, what the hell? Who writes this stuff? Why would you say that to a human being? Like, holy cow. Why does he have skulls in his back, in his background? Because his wife works in anthropology. What do you want? I'm sorry. Like, that's interesting. Getting Avi Loeb on, that guy does a bazillion interviews.
Yeah.
Right.
He loves it. He loves it. So.
He's a machine, that guy. He is a machine. I don't know how he does it, to be honest with you.
I mean, people like Ryan Graves are just almost impossible. If anyone listening has a link to get to Ryan Graves, please let me know, because he is a secret squirrel. You cannot love no money, contact that man. I don't know how to do it. So if anyone's got any,
I think we need to get in a UFO and fly around. Right? He'll spot us.
He'll spot us. Flag us down.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, there you go. Anybody listening who has contacts to Ryan Graves, That would be nice. Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's interesting. What about John Greenwald? Have we reached out to him? Black Vault. The Black Vault? Yes, Black Vault. John Greenwald Jr. I may not have told you about him.
No, I don't recognize his name, Patrick, to be honest.
Okay. Well, my bad.
Write it down.
Yeah, my bad. Yes, I made a video. He's very well known. He's sort of like in the Mick West camp in the sense that I people would not call him a believer, quote unquote. He's got a website called theblackvault.com. He's very active on Twitter. He's commented on one of our embedded videos on YouTube, which is interesting. And I would say he's compiled the largest list of government documents ever by anybody. We have something in America called the Freedom of Information Act, which allows people to request documents from the government. If you know what to request, you have to be very specific. You can't just be like, give me all your UFO stuff. It has to be very specific what you ask for. So he's got millions of documents on his website that he's compiled over, I don't know, 20 years or something. So it's kind of crazy. And yeah, he is someone I would love to have a conversation with for sure. So, I'll send you his Twitter. I know he's active on there. And his website, I'm sure will have some sort of contact. But yeah, he would be a great person to have on. I know some of our fans have requested we interview him. So
okay, good to know.
Yeah. What else? We also Sebastian, I don't know if you're cool with it, but I wanted to show some of the logos you had sent recently. I want to show them to the audience, see what people think. Because oddly enough, I showed them to like all my friends. All my friends were like, whoa, why you want to change your logo? Your logo's fine. I was like, what? Really? I said that was temporary. That was just like to get us started. They're like, well, I love that logo. Really? So I'm confused. Now I don't know. And I didn't have one person say, oh yeah, you should change it to one of the. I was like, what about these over here? These are cool. Yeah, those are all right, but you already have this cool logo. I don't know. So I thought we should put up a vote, right? And get some other opinions here. So yeah, I thought I would. Are you cool with that? I'll put them up on the screen for people to look at and sort of.
That's great. Yeah, good idea.
Right.
Good
Give
idea,
us their feedback. So, okay, guys. So right now I'm going to put up all the 3 different logos. They're numbered. And just tell me in the comments, which one you like. See, let's get some feedback, y'all, and see if we should change these, because Sebastian got these logos. They look great. And I honestly, don't ask me. I do not want to be the end all of this, because to me, everything looks great. It all looks great. Oh, look at my dog. I just realized my dog messed up my. That's what my dog does. He immediately goes up and pulls down the blanket and like, let me get comfy. And then he jumps off. So thanks, Rocket, for doing that. But yeah, the logos, we'll just get some feedback and see what they think. Right.
Great.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's do that. Good idea.
All right. What am I missing here, guys? I don't know. Sebastian, any news you saw? Any news you wanted to speak about, or anything interesting?
Not really, no. Hold on 1 second.
Get a message.
Maybe we should edit this 1 second.
No way. We leave it all in. Don't worry,
Sebastian.
Listen, Sebastian is a busy guy, y'all, in the UK. Okay, let me tell you that. He's a busy guy.
I saw something. I just want to look it up. 1 second.
We got a sighting. We got a sighting, y'all.
Big news.
Big news.
Yeah. There was this statistic. Did you see the statistic about Maryland?
About Maryland? I don't know. Maybe.
Nope.
I'm not sure.
Well, they apparently apparently there were 2,000 UFO sightings since 1995. I want to share this article here. It shows a map. It shows a map that shows the state with the most UFO sightings. And I think Maryland is the one. Now, there are more in California, but even though Texas is much bigger, it has much less. I'm going to show this article here. 1 second.
That's
I'm gonna
because
share this
here we just shoot at them and then don't tell nobody.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. 1,923 to the National UFO Reporting Center. I'll be honest, I didn't even know that existed.
No.
The National UFO Report. Okay. That's interesting.
So the map shows the one in the last 5 years, right? So you have like 1,000 in Texas, 2,600 in California,
Oh, wow.
Oh,
1,700 in Florida. Yeah, right.
okay. No, I
I think
had
you should
not
show
seen
that
this.
map on the screen.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's very interesting.
100%. 100%. Yeah, we'll show this map. And I'm going to put a link to this article as well so you can check it out. Yeah, so look at this map, guys. That's interesting. And this is just what's being reported to this National UFO, whatever it's called. So not including MUFON, not including just the local police, right, or local whatever. That's great. I mean, that's pretty cool. Very hot in California, right? Look at all those sightings. Florida.
Yeah.
But Maryland is such a small little state, right? Like, I used to live right next to Maryland and go to Baltimore a lot and drive through Maryland to get to DC when I lived up in Philadelphia. It's a beautiful state. It honestly blends in with all of it around there. You stop seeing the border up there. We call that our Europe, the Northeast up there. Wow. Yeah, a lot of sightings. Sightings of we released our MUFON episode. I put that interview out there, and I did like a little history of MUFON and whatever before I show the video, or the interview, excuse me. So if you haven't already, check that out. Jessica Toko, she's on the board of directors of MUFON. So literally, she's the top dog under the real top dog. So there's one guy above her. That's it. And it's quite interesting. I mean, that organization's been around for like 50 something years, and they do stuff like this, put together like data like this, whatever. They have the largest collection of UFO reports, I guess you would say, in probably the world, if I'm being honest, not just America. But because America is so large, I think there's a version of that in the UK of MUFON, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not entirely sure. So somebody can fact check that, in the comments for me and tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think there is. Yeah, this is an interesting article. Oh, so that's what it is. UFO RC. Oh, these acronyms they got are I can't keep up with them. Yeah, look at this. I mean, it is okay, it's got John Podesta mentioned in the article as well. Yeah, so they go through. Oh, okay, I got it. All right, yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna put a link to this article, guys, so you guys can check it out. This is quite interesting. There has been a little bit of UFO news, I guess. Sort of. This is crazy, y'all. So, have y'all heard of Ring cameras? You heard of that?
Yeah, the doorbell cameras.
Yeah, the doorbell cameras. That company put out a $1 million prize if anyone can catch a UFO on their Ring camera. it has to be like scientifically analyzed or something past it. It's like, bro, people are going to try to fake this to get $1 million because you don't need the actual alien. You just need a video that looks like an alien's in it or something. Like, how are you going to prove? Like, they just opened a can of worms, in my opinion. You're gonna have lawsuits galore. Like, I caught a UFO. This is BS. I won my $1 million. I'm telling you, that is what's going to happen. I don't know why they did that. They're trying to, as is pointed out on Reddit, they're trying to cash in on this phenomena that's happening. I don't know. Is this like here in the States? It is definitely like out there. Anyone you talk to is like, yeah, I've heard some stuff. Like, they may not know David Grush and this and that and all this stuff, but they know, like, oh yeah, I've been seeing stuff in the news all the time about UFOs and stuff. Like, what's going on, Patrick? You know, what's going? Is that what it's like in the UK? Because here it is. Everyone kind of knows about something. Is it like that there?
I wouldn't say it's that. I mean, it's not that much, no.
Interesting. God, that's so.
And it feels like it's been quiet the last couple of weeks. I think since the Congress stuff, that was definitely in the headlining the BBC, or kind of one of the top stories in the BBC. But that seems to have quieted down, and there's not been. Then obviously we had the cake alien.
Oh yeah,
and all of that stuff. So that was making news over here, but
yeah,
not since then. I haven't seen anything really.
Interesting. Yeah, that's I wonder if the UK would follow in the footsteps of the US if we do pass this UAP legislation that goes in the National Defense Authorization Act. It hasn't been approved just yet, and especially now with, I don't know if you've seen it, but our Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, got fired. And it's the first time in the history of American government. I mean, just like crazy. So it's kind of put a whole everything into disarray, if you will. So I wonder if the UK would follow suit with legislation of their own for UAP disclosure.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's that would be interesting. Well, how would that process?
I don't think it's very high on the agenda here, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. 100%. How would that look? Because clearly the governments are different. Like, how would the UK pass legislation? Like, what is the process? Because here it goes through the House, through the Senate, right? Then it gets approved by the president for us here. So what's the process there in the UK if they were to pass UFO legislation? Like, what would that look like? I don't know if y'all know.
We have different, we have the different houses of parliament, and it needs to be approved by each house of parliament. And then I think, we're getting into technicalities here, but I think it needs royal assent as well. I think it needs to be.
What does that mean? Royal assent?
Depending on the severity or the kind of depth of the change or the legislation needed. I think it needs to be approved by the king.
Really?
I think. Yeah.
Wow. That's
it depends. If we're talking about a proposed law, then that definitely needs approval by a royal.
That's interesting. I honestly, I think a lot of Americans are gonna agree with what I'm saying. Like, I thought the king and queen was just for show now. Like, they had no power.
They mostly are.
I mean, I guess they can approve something quite. But I didn't know that. I thought the prime minister would. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know anything about how that runs. To be honest,
I mean, I think they would act on advice from the prime minister and other ministers. So if they were told we need to legislate this, we need to make this law, they'll just say yes or no. Depending on what they say.
So the UK hasn't got a written constitution, right? But it has got a constitution, basically, that's passed down basically on it's based on customs, right?
Yeah.
So the king would never not sign something from Parliament because it would cause a constitutional crisis, right? So there is this so there is this agreement, even though it's not written down, but I mean everybody understands what it means, right? because the king, I mean, as you said, the king it is technically the head of state, but it's only really a representative monarchy. So he hasn't got really any power, right? I mean,
Yeah,
by
totally.
far not as much power as the president, really. I mean, but it's not written down. So there's the constitution where it says, okay, the king has to do this. He understands, and everyone understands that this is what he has to do. And if he wouldn't do it, I mean, I guess there would be a crisis, and they would think, okay, what do we do now? Maybe we need to get rid of the monarchy altogether because clearly this
Mm,
isn't working out, right? So
Wow.
that's why the king, my family are very careful to not overstep, the mark. And I mean, there have been sort of cases, of course, where then the government can bring the queen or the king into a tricky situation. So when Boris Johnson, for example, prorogued parliament, which meant he disbanded parliament early, right? Sent them all away. He had it signed by the queen. There was a big question mark there. Does he now make the queen do something that's potentially not legal, right? But she has to sign it by her
Sure.
constitutional role. She's obligated to sign it. So she
Wow.
cannot not sign it, also knowing that it's potentially, and in fact, the High Court in the UK has then ruled that it was unlawful, right? So he exposed the Queen at that point to doing something that's not lawful, right? So it's
Wow.
it's a bit tricky, right?
Holy
I don't think
cow.
in modern times it's ever been refused. I think royal assent has always been given because it's not, as Sebastian said, it's not really anything. It's just a tick
That's
on a piece of
interesting.
paper.
What oh, that's so interesting. I mean, I find that absolutely fascinating. How is the royalty considered like liberal or conservative or nothing? They're just neutral. They're just there, or they don't speak
They're
up
they're
about
neutral. They
issues.
put a lot of emphasis on being neutral. No, they don't
Yeah,
speak up. They
no,
don't speak up now.
Wow.
totally neutral.
Wow, that's how do y'all feel about the monarchy? Does it bother you? Do you want it gone? Are you cool with it? Tradition? Um, I'm curious.
I'm totally neutral. I can see the argument for not having them. I can see the argument for having them. I think a lot of people really liked the Queen, and now she has gone. I think there's some questions being raised, and I think the Commonwealth. So don't forget, the Queen is head of state for other countries as well, Australia, Jamaica.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, Canada, yeah,
yeah,
what? Canada too? Holy
yeah,
cow! Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Wow,
So I think
guys.
I think the Commonwealth will start to potentially step back a little bit from having, because it all stems from the British Empire, which
Sure.
perhaps isn't seen so positively. So I think there will be some changes over in the years to come, in the not distant future when it comes to the Commonwealth. But I'm just speculating. I don't know anything for definite.
Yeah. No. I mean, that's what we do here. Oh, that's interesting. That I remember when I lived in Spain and speaking to people there, they were upset about the royalty, the money going, not so much the royalty,
Yeah,
but all the
that's what
money
will
that
annoy
would go
people
to the
here. Yeah,
royalty. It's like, why they get all this money to do nothing? Meanwhile,
yeah.
they can have parades, they can have all this stuff. We're just wasting all these, millones de euros, right? Like en un festival por nada, madre mia. They'd just be so upset that all this money would go towards that. Is that a similar argument there? Like, yeah, it'd be cool, but all the resources that go to it that could go to, I
Yeah, they
don't know.
cost a fortune. We pay for all of their travel, upkeep, security, everything like that. They do cover some of it themselves. And the argument always used to be that they bring so much into the country in terms of tourism that actually balances it out. I don't know if that's the case anymore. But yes, you will get people saying that and arguing that they don't, that they're figureheads, they don't really have any responsibilities, and they take a lot of taxpayer money for upkeep and all of that stuff I just mentioned. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think if you spoke to people on the street, you get a real mixed view.
that's interesting about the tourism. I never thought of that, but that could be a good argument, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Um, definitely a lot of people will go to see the castle. I mean, when I went to London, Sebastian, I filmed that video with Emmett. The whole video was me trying to get to the Queen, right? And I went and looked for Boris Johnson, right? Like, I find that odd that you can go right up to a building and a gate where he is behind, like, try to get to the White House in America. Like, good luck. Like, it's the security there is insane. I found the security just outside the castle where the Queen was, like one guy standing there. There's probably more around there somewhere, I'm sure, but I don't know. I just found it kind of odd. Yeah, that's interesting. Because whatever, to bring it back to UFOs, like, I wonder if, the Queen would have to approve UFO legislation. I guess she would be obligated and write it, but I'd be curious. Well, the Queen's no longer around.
Depends what it is, though, Patrick, because maybe legislation isn't the right word in our context. Because if it was just research, or if it was just, we need to do some more work on this, I don't think she would. But if there was it's the King now, remember?
Yeah, the King now. Correct. Yeah. Sorry.
But if
who's the king now? What's it? King Charles?
Yeah,
right,
King Charles. But if it was a new law that we were proposing, so people had to abide by a new rule, whatever that might be linked to UFOs, I don't know. But then yes, the royals, King Charles, would have to sign a piece of paper just to say that it's done.
I wonder what King Charles thinks about UFOs. And
I reach out to him.
Yeah, let's get him on vetted. Yeah. The last king of England, right? Potentially. That's interesting. I don't know how would England go, the UK go about getting rid of royal. Like, I don't know how would they have to resign themselves, right? That just seems like a massive process to happen.
I can't see it happening. They might, I don't know, maybe we'd have a referendum. I don't know, which is a kind of yes.
And they would have to sign off on it. Right? That would be weird. Like, yep, getting rid of me. That just seems like I wouldn't sign it if I was them. Like, nope, I'm keeping my castle, y'all. Sorry. Not getting rid of it. Yeah. Sebastian, you're originally from Germany, right? What's the Germany? Do they have royalty as well?
No, they don't have royalty. I mean, they have a system similar to, I guess, the US in a way. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's
a presidential system. Although the president in Germany hasn't got much power either. He's more like the British king. So in Germany, the power is with the chancellor.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's right. Merkel, is she still there or no? Is she out? Was it Merkel?
She's not. She's no longer there. So her successor is called Scholz.
Schultz. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Just this UFO thing is all over the world. So it's interesting to hear how different governments work and what their process would be. It's almost like it might be easier to try to get stuff passed in some other countries if the line to get things passed is easier than here. Here it's just a complete shit show, pardon my language, for the government. I mean, we've got to be a laughing stock in the world of how our government runs here. The idea is great, our Constitution, right? Okay, the way we have the executive branch and Congress and the Senate and blah blah blah, but I don't know. I'm hearing sort of different ways to govern. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I didn't know that about the royalty being over Canada, Australia, right? Jamaica. That is interesting. That is interesting. I don't know. How do y'all feel about that? Does that bother y'all? Like, what are we doing? Oh, Amy's out.
I mean, as you've already said, I'm German. I mean, I'm just like a guest in the UK, and the royalty doesn't bother me at all. I think it's quite cool. I mean,
I think it's kind of cool too.
Yeah,
I agree. It's kind of cool, especially if you don't think it's interfering, right, with your daily life, or you feel it's unfair. Right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, Amy had to go. her daughter, it's her birthday, it's her daughter's birthday, so she's got a birthday party and all this stuff planned. So just FYI, that's why. And she told us ahead of time that was going to happen. So just for everyone watching, like, where'd Amy go? That's where she went. So that's interesting. Well, Sebastian, I'll
So anyway, but I mean, what
Yeah.
we had discussed before, I mean, Patrick. So you should come to the UK, and then we go UFO hunting in the UK. We go to, now we can go to this location there in Wales, that was shown in the Encounters documentary, Rendlesham Forest, and all these places. Yeah, that would be good. Take some pics there, maybe meet some of the witnesses, so to speak, right?
Yes, absolutely. That would be great. It's one of the UK has so many sightings, hotspots, like 100%. There's another one I can't think of right now. That's gosh, I cut starts with a C. It's a military. It was actually American military bases out there, I believe, in Ireland. Cosford. Not sure where that's at, but that's also a big one in the UK. Yes, 100%. Go there. Look, I'm going to be taking a trip to Stephenville to get, I don't know, some information out there from the, Netflix show, and go out there and see the sky, see what's out there. Maybe I can meet some of these people, but really I just want to talk to people in the town, just regular folks that didn't get shown in the documentary, right? Hey, what do you think about all this UFO stuff? What do you think about this guy, that guy, right? Like, have you seen anything? So yeah, look, guys, we'll start doing some trips out there and start seeing some of this stuff, boots on the ground, if you will. Yeah, that would.
How far is Stephenville from you?
Oh no, it's close. Hour and a half ish. Not very far. Good. Yeah. It's definitely a day trip. No problem at all. I've been there. It's a place people go for sure. It's a small town, cool little town. People visited that town before, the UFO stuff. They got barbecue out there. Yeah, it's a nice little town to go to. So, but yeah, that would be great going out to the UK.
Yeah, I've been to Stephenville, but it's cool. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Do that. Yeah, that sounds good.
For sure. Absolutely. I think people would flip over that, to be honest with you, if we did that. 100%. So, all right. Well, I do want to bring up before we go here, just some videos that are out there that we have on our channel for people to go watch that have been a little controversial. So if you want to see what the controversy is about, go check out these videos. Again, I'll put links to all this, but I put out a video about Logan Paul, a UFO video that he has, and that it's fake, and I can prove it. And in my opinion, I do prove it in the video. Some people disagreed. Other people agreed. It's up for you to decide, but check that video out. Again, I'll put a link to it. And if you're like, what is the Logan Paul video? Well, that video explains all of that. So check that out. I also put, Sebastian, this is interesting. I made a video about ChatGPT, a special version of it by this like AI expert, where he was able to redacted documents. And so, like, what does that mean for, top secret documents that have all the redactions? And kind of went through the process. Again, I'm not suggesting that that's possible. I'm reporting on another person saying that that's possible, but people started attacking me personally. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, that video caused quite a stir on Reddit. So anyway, check out that video. It's got a lot of views right now. And you can see the process of what this person brought up. His name is Brian Rommel. And yeah, he's basically suggesting that. And, what does that mean for the future of documents and blah, blah, blah. So it's a good video to check out. And then today, aside from the podcast going out, guys, I made a video over the weekend about the Wilson memo. So it's a two-parter. It's long. So breaking that down, deep dive on it, and taking a look at the entire document as a whole. It's 15 pages. So check that out. A lot of people are going to be interested. And I found some stuff that they said was lost. They said it couldn't be found on the internet anymore. Well, I found it. So it's a good video to watch, guys. So some new stuff on the Wilson memo that you have not seen before. So yeah, I'm curious how that's going to go over on Reddit as well. Those videos will do very well for us.
And have there been any other news on David Grush?
No, nothing brand new. You know, that documentary that we talked about last week. Jesse Michaels, the guy who interviewed David Grush, he did put out an interview that I put a link in through Slack. He doesn't really bring up anything new that I hadn't heard before, but maybe for other people who don't know, it's hard to tell where people are with information on that, right? But he just does a deep dive on David Grush, how he met him, how the documentary came together, what he wanted to accomplish from the documentary. It's a great interview. So yeah. But other than that, no, I mean, we're just waiting. We're waiting for the people David Grush said would come forward, right? The firsthand witnesses. That's what everybody's waiting for, honestly. Like,
when do you think that will happen?
I mean, they keep
if it happens.
Yeah, they say soon. I just don't know what that means in the UFO world. Soon, right? A month, 2 months. I've heard different things across Twitter and from different people. You know, I've heard this month there was supposed to be another hearing for the UFO stuff, you know, where those firsthand witnesses were going to testify this month. But I don't know. We kind of found out about a week and a half before the other hearing. So it is kind of last minute that we would find out the hearing's going to happen, just because of the way our government works and how they get some of those hearings together. You know, Congress has to, and Congress people within it have to like secure a room and get certain people to sign off on it, right? You got to get sort of some approvals and then get it, you know, get a room and a date and a time set and whatever to have this happen. So it can kind of come together last minute. But supposedly before the end of the year. But who knows? It could be they can't get a room. Obviously our government, almost shutting down, losing the Speaker of the House. That's going to put a lot of roadblocks in the way, because they're going to focus on that. What just happened in Israel? Yeah. What just happened in Israel is definitely going to put a roadblock. Ukraine aid, all of that is gets in the way of them focusing on that, because they'll say, no, we got to put our efforts over here. So, you got the presidential election this year too, or next year, pardon me. But it's a big part of things now. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell with the UFO community. What does soon mean? So I don't know. But if anyone has any information, please.
I don't know. I agree. I mean, all these things are big distractions. I mean, are big, like, they will. I agree.
Yeah, it just people just say, why are we talking about UFO stuff? And honestly, whoever's the new Speaker of the House, that could put a kibosh on the UAP legislation. Because again, for those of you watching, listening, it's not a law yet. It's not going to be a law. It's just something that's going to go into the National Defense Authorization Act. That's all it is, an amendment in there. They need to approve it. So we'll find out.
Yeah, they're saying that Jim Jordan is going to be the next speaker, probably.
Yeah. And he doesn't have a good track record on supporting the UAP movement, like, at all. In fact, he's pretty anti.
Or telling the truth, for that matter, at all, right?
Yeah. Yes, I concur. I concur.
I
That
mean,
to
I think
me,
I remember that especially in the whole thing around the 6th of January there, he pushed a lot of like false stories. Yeah.
oh gosh, yes. I honestly cannot think of a worse person to be Speaker of the House. Being said, like I cannot think of a worse person. It's scary. Um, it's scary to me. That's like he's the last guy you want to have power. He is talk about drunken power. That guy, oosh. It's like Donald Trump. He just won't give it up. He'll do whatever he has to keep that if he gets that role. And that's worrisome.
Yeah, exactly. The whole stolen election bullshit. Yeah, I know what you
Oh
mean.
yeah, he'll push all kinds of stuff. I again, not about liberal, conservative, whatever. That guy is just shady. He's just a shady guy. And according to UFO, if you know, to connect it back to UFOs and the UAP movement, he will squash that in 2 seconds. He will immediately get rid of all that. So if you want disclosure in America, do not support that guy. He is not the one that will get us there. So, but yeah, well, it is a big deal. It does matter to this whole movement. Who becomes Speaker of the House? It definitely can have a major impact on that. Can put a kibosh on all these whistleblowers, Arrow, all of this. NASA, the NSA has theirs, Department of Energy. He can put a squash. He can squash it all. So I don't know. Let's
The
hope that
speaker
doesn't happen.
has a lot of power. Yeah, so
Oh yeah, and influence.
really powerful role.
Yeah, he's got a lot of influence. He can basically make people, hey, you want my help on this? Drop that. I mean, it's all how it works. Last minute deals.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyway.
A lot of arm twisting. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of arm twisting. So anyway, Sebastian, that's all I got for this week. I don't know. I don't want to cut you off, or if you have something else you wanted to.
Yeah, no, sounds good.
Discuss. Yeah.
No, sounds good.
Okay, guys. Well, that's it on Betted today. Patrick, Sebastian, you met Amy. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Next week. Cheers, Patrick. Bye.
All right, brother. Okay, guys. Peace. Don't forget, every day's a gift. Check out those Wilson memo videos. They're already out. So check them out. You'll enjoy it. There's Rocket. Peace.